Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Four Continental Podcast. It's me, Momin, from Pakistan, with Zakaria, originally from Kenya. We have other two lads with us too, three perhaps, but they are not here due to some uh, personal commitments. But they will be with us in the future episodes. So we start off today with our FIFA World Cup 2026 prediction. Group A until Group F. So let's start off with Group A: Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and Czechia.
Yeah. Uh, and this group with Mexico being the host as well. Uh, who do you have going first?
I personally think that we might see some like upset, despite Mexico having home advantage.
Yeah.
Although they might have home advantage, but they they prefer high pressing. So either of the three teams, if they are smart and they can hold on to their press. All they need is basically one good through ball to break their defense. As when Mexico high press, their defense, their center backs are basically left isolated. So therefore, it makes it easier for the rest of the teams to score on them. So I
Yeah.
think,
Well,
yeah,
yeah. I see where you're coming from, honestly. Uh, but at the same time, we've seen how what is it called again, on the counter mix how dangerous they are, Mexico. You know,
yeah,
we've
I
seen it
agree.
in past World Cups. Lozano coming in on the counters with them. And do you think that'll happen again?
I think so. Well, although I think he's gotten a bit old, but they got Gilberto Mora. He's basically the wonder kid of Mexico right now. There's a
Yeah,
lot
and he's
of
been
hype
very good.
around
I've
it.
seen him in a few
Yeah,
games. Yeah, he is a wonderful player. But on the top of Mexico, I have them personally stopping the group still. What about you?
I think they finish uh, either second or third, but it depends on how Czech Republic plays as well. Because as we know, Czech Republic is a good side, and they
Yeah, very
can
strong
do some
side.
upsets. They got some players like Sushek, and they got Patrick Schick up front. He's like very lethal at finishing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, I think
Especially from the set pieces as well. Set has
yeah,
really strong players inside that set piece. I mean, they really rely on set pieces as well as a squad. You know, they have an amazing set piece routine that gives them in that 18 area. And if it all works out for them, they can easily end up topping this group, to be honest, even upsetting Mexico.
yeah.
You know,
Honestly, they
people have been
they they
underrating them.
have a short.
So, to be honest, now looking at the group again, I do kind of lean towards Mexico still topping it, not because they're actually the better squad, but that home advantage, especially considering the weather conditions. We know that Czech Republic has never been like used to this weather.
Yeah,
It
playing
might
in this
affect the
hot
players.
weather.
Yeah, it might affect the players and the play style of the team.
Yeah,
But a team like Mexico and South Africa, countries that have been used to this level of heat, especially in this month, I really do think that they all will benefit the most out of this. With South Korea, it's kind of tricky, right? We've seen them before, and we've seen how they were the last World Cup, right? They were a solid team.
yeah,
Uh, I think they reached the round of 16, right?
yeah. They, I believe they knocked out a very good side too. I
Yeah.
forgot who it was.
If I'm not wrong, if I can confirm, South Korea World Cup 2022 games, of course. I'm trying to search up something right now. So yeah, in the opening match they played against Uruguay. They drew 0-0, and they lost against Ghana. But in the final game, right, they did end up beating Portugal 2-1.
Yeah,
Unlucky though when they had to face Brazil in the round of 16. If they would have faced anyone else, they could have had a shot to reach the quarterfinals.
yeah. Honestly, but Brazil is obviously a
It
very
was a much
great
better Brazil
team.
side than now, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
So,
So
what do you think about South Korea?
I think South Korea on their day, like they got Kim Min Jae, they got
Home
Son,
Ming Son.
got yeah, they got such good players. But looking at Group A, like all together, I think it's such a mixed group. Like all teams are kind of basically the same level. I would say there's not much difference between each of the four teams. So I think it's actually very tough to predict who actually tops the group.
Yeah,
But
this group is
I
really,
think,
really hard.
yeah, yeah, but I personally think South Korea is gonna top the group.
South Korea topping the group. That is a mad
Yeah,
prediction, man. But I
yeah,
hear it. I hear it. I'm gonna let you land. I'm gonna let it land.
and followed
I'm
by
gonna let it land. And
they're gonna be
now,
followed by yeah.
yeah. So
The
my
sa-
predictions are after everything I talked about, right? I have Mexico topping it still, followed
yeah,
by followed by Czech Republic, followed by South Korea. And I'm sorry, South Africa will have to go back home.
yeah. I basically agree. I just have to like switch up. I would basically say South Korea topping the group, followed by Mexico and Czech Republic at third. Um, South Africa play exciting football, but I just don't think they have what it takes to
It's a
like
very
go
young
through.
squad as well.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
think maybe in the future, but yeah, not now.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so
We'll go to Group
let's
B.
move towards Group B.
All right.
It's another very exciting group. I would compare it with Group A since they are basically similar levels as well. You could say Switzerland is a bit like higher, but the other three, not much difference between them.
All right. So with Group B, looking at it, it's again, it's a bit more weaker. I'm not gonna say that, but like weaker than Group A, like a bit more.
Mhm.
But Canada, let's talk about Canada. A squad that really relies on Alfonso Davis, and we're hearing that we might not see him on the opening day. He is still dealing with that same injury up
Yeah,
until now. Even though he still has been called up, we we see how much Canada relies on him. You know,
yeah, it's
and if the
obvious
rumors
he's
are true that
basically the
he might
star
not play,
player.
yeah,
Hmm.
if the rumors are true that he might not play the first two games, then it's not looking good for Canada. Even though they are the hosts, right?
Yeah, I agree. Being the host doesn't mean the fans are gonna play it for you. The fans basically just play their parts. And let's be like very honest. These countries like Canada and USA, they don't really have that the kind of support they can give to their team like you would see from Mexican fans. They have like proper
Exactly.
passion, they have proper passion and the vibes and the atmosphere. You don't I don't think we're gonna see that in Canada or the USA.
I honestly agree. To be honest, but yeah, even though Canada still have the possibility of going through, especially being home, in front of their fans and family, I actually do not think they will top this group. I have Switzerland topping this group. A
Hmm.
squad that we've been know how Switzerland perform in the big stage. They've never disappointed. Uh, we've seen them perform in 2014 World Cup, 2018, the Euros recently in 2024 Euros. Yeah,
Yeah,
they've been consistently always turning up. You can never count out Switzerland, especially with a group like this, where this group is very to their favor.
yeah, like
So
they
I
have
have
a
Switzerland topping this
good
group.
shot. Uh-huh.
Yeah. What about you?
I would say the same in Group B. I only see basically Switzerland that are capable of topping the group. And then I would say second is a very risky spot because teams like Bosnia, they are a good team. They have that youngster. I can't pronounce his name. I don't wanna like completely ruin it, but
Yeah.
he's been stepping up for Bosnia, and they got Edin Dzeko up front. They got Kolasinac in the defense. I think they're. If comparatively I have to choose, I would say they're slightly better than Qatar and Canada.
I won't say this
Considering,
slightly better
yeah,
than Qatar. Qatar has been underwhelming. Even though they've been well in the Asian Cup, right? I think they have won the
Yeah,
Asian Cup,
yeah,
but
they
we've
did.
seen them in the big stage, especially last World Cup when they hosted it. They were very lackluster. To be honest, they were not that good,
Yeah,
and I think that the
yeah.
lights were too bright for them. And this time, I do have Switzerland topping the group, but it will be followed by Canada. I do believe that Canada will snatch 3 points against Qatar, and that will really much help them in terms of ending up second. Bosnia will be third, even though I would love Bosnia to be second. The home advantage would be towards Canada and Bosnia third. Qatar will be going home. What do you think? What's your predictions?
Yeah, I agree with Switzerland topping the group as they're basically the most experienced side in the whole group. So I would say Switzerland topped the group, but second, I don't think Canada finished second. I think they finished third. However, Bosnia finishes second. I think Edin Dzeko steps up for Bosnia in his last World Cup. 40-year-old, an absolute class player.
How old is
He's,
Deco
he's
now?
40. He's 40.
He's oh man.
Yeah, so I think in his last World Cup, he definitely will step up for his nation. So I
He was
think
good. He was good
Switzerland.
in the. He was
Yeah,
playing well
yeah,
in the
yeah.
qualifiers.
He basically scored the goal against Italy, which made them knock them out. So yeah, think Switzerland followed by Bosnia, then Canada finishes third, Qatar goes home.
Okay,
Yeah, now let's move towards Group C.
Group
Very
C,
interesting group.
very interesting group to be honest. Uh,
Yeah,
but it's way more. How can I say? I can see what happens here. Uh, my favorites, if you didn't know, my favorites are Brazil, and I really want them to win. You know, and
yeah,
yeah, with Brazil, they might top this group. Um, the question mark is if Neymar is fit. We see how valuable he is to the squad, but the question is, can he play all 90 minutes? Can he play games where the squad needs him, his creativity? Yes, Neymar is 34 years old and very fragile, but we see he's such a creative player, can create chances out of nothing. You know, he's very still rapid on the ball, and
mm,
with
mm,
Brazil, they have the two best, arguably a top five player in the world. They have Vinicius doing it on his day under Carlos Ancelotti. We have seen how Vinicius plays under Carlos Ancelotti. He's always popping off, playing well. Uh, the Ballon d'Or level player that we've seen before. And then we have Rafinha. Rafinha had an amazing season last year, but this year has been kind of a bit less because injuries, of course. And Endrick, this could be the tournament that he cements himself as a Brazilian starter. You know, I really do want him to start. I don't want Igor Thiago to start. To be honest, what about you?
yeah. Group C is basically quite interesting group. And speaking of Brazil, we saw Neymar in the Brazilian league for Santos. How well he can still do, how good he is on the ball. And obviously injuries have
Mm,
affected his play.
yep.
Although Brazil have like they've got a quite a decent squad. Like look at Vinicius, you can Neymar, Casemiro, Alisson. They got a good squad. They have the potential to top the group. But Brazil on their bad day, during their bad days, they can very like unfortunately they can finish in the bottom two as well. We
Brazil on a
saw
bad day.
highly, yeah,
One thing I don't
yeah,
really like about the Brazil team is that how their fullbacks are such lackluster. We have Alex, 35 years old, bombing up and down the pitch as a left back. That will be
yeah,
such an area where Brazil will need to strengthen up. Their centre back pairing is very nice. We have Gabriel Magalhaes and Marquinhos, two of the top centre backs in the world.
yeah. Honestly, best. They,
Yeah, but the wing backs are not looking well.
Yeah, they're gonna be a problem against pacey wingers. And looking at Morocco, they got players like Ziyech and En Nasiri and El Kabi. They got them basically Hakimi in the back, and they got a decent squad as well. So if The fullbacks of Brazil aren't like pacey. They will be
Yeah,
punished on the
it's
wings.
gonna look hard for them. It's gonna look really hard.
Yeah,
But I still have them ending up top of the group. Now let's talk about Morocco. They won the AFCON somehow, and
yeah,
let's not joke about Morocco. Morocco's a top squad. We've seen them last World Cup. You know, they've been amazing. They were the first African nation to reach the semifinals. Do I think they'll run it again? Not really, but I do think they'll do well and amazing. I think they'll comfortably be second after Brazil, and then Scotland third. Scotland, especially being led by, let's talk about Scotland, a squad that they're having Scott McTominay, a man who's been on form for Napoli. We've seen how Scott McTominay has been playing, and
yeah,
if we have an aging Robertson, but even though Robertson's still at 33 years old, 32 years old, he's still a top left back as well. And a squad that relies on, especially with his leadership on that pitch, is very valuable for them. Do I think they might snatch a point against Brazil? I don't really think so. I do think that they'll comfortably win against Haiti, and I think Haiti will be going back home. What do you think?
So for Group C, I think Brazil tops the group, followed by. I'm a bit skeptical about Scotland and Morocco because Scotland, as we saw in their qualifiers and their like recent games, I wouldn't really underestimate them. But they have the ability to finish second with players like Robertson, Tierney, McTominay, etc. And yeah, talking about Haiti, they beat New Zealand 4-0 without their main player playing for them. So I think he had not arrived with the team yet. They beat New Zealand 4-0. Although their group is like tough, quite tough for them. They don't have a team that is on the caliber of NZ, but I think they might be able to like. I don't think they end up on 0 points. They might be able to get some points at least, like maybe a draw if they're lucky. But I do see them finishing fourth. To Brazil,
All right.
Morocco, Scotland, and Haiti. That's
Oh,
yeah.
I can actually see like Scotland, maybe even Scotland getting a win against Brazil. Like that's how
Mm,
strong they are.
yeah,
Like if Brazil do not turn up at this tournament, a Scotland team could still get like a 2-0 or 2-1 win against them. You know?
yeah, it's very much possible. I agree. Scotland can absolutely cook Brazil. I have to use the word cook, but yeah, it's possible.
Yeah,
Considering the Brazilian fullbacks, it's definitely a threat for them.
yeah, it's not looking good.
Yeah,
I do see Haiti going back home though.
yeah, I feel like that's kind of obvious in the group here. Yeah. So we can now move towards Group D, which is another
Yeah,
very interesting group.
Group D with the hosts, the mighty USA, the country that have been talking about themselves this whole time. They were hyping this World Cup up, and now
Yeah,
they're finally the hosts. Do you think they'll be? I mean, the difference with the USA is that they don't have that fan base, that football culture like Mexico. You know?
yeah, exactly. Which I mentioned in Group B as well when talking about Canada. Canada and USA, the basically the football culture in these countries is so forced. Like it isn't by choice of people. It has been forced upon them. Unlike Mexico, where there's a history of the World Cup, they have been qualifying and they have been bringing amazing atmosphere to the games. Wherever the World Cup is, Mexican fans always, bring the vibes. They have it in their culture. But Canada and USA, not so much. You can look at their ultras, like in their league games. Generally, they have the worst chance I ever heard in my life.
Yeah. Uh, but you have to give them the tax where that this squad is very solid defensively. They're very solid. The thing about USA is that their creativity ability. For example, they really cannot create for themselves, and that's really harsh for them. You know, if you're telling me that
Yeah,
you really have Christian Pulisic being your main outlet, it's not looking good. You know,
yeah, I agree. We got players like Dest, Pulisic, Balogun up front, I believe, and yeah, they have a decent team. But if you ask me, I think Turkey will top this group. They will exceed the expectations people have on them. USA, the USA pundits are highly, uh, you know, biased when it comes to Group D. They think
Yeah.
only USA is capable of topping the group. But if you ask me genuinely, at best I see them finishing third or fourth, not above it.
Oh, yeah. I do.
Yeah,
I do think that the manager of Pochettino would help a lot. You know, we've seen Pochettino as the individual. His man management is amazing. He got the best out of Spurs. He managed PSG. You know, he has that.
yeah,
But the thing about Pochettino is that he does not have that winning mentality as like a Jose Mourinho or a Pep Guardiola. You know, that separates him from them.
yeah.
He's always been a sore loser, and that's something that he instilled in this USA squad.
I agree.
Hmm. So, my predictions, I will have to change after looking at it all. And originally, I did have USA topping this group because they're the home and they're the host. You know, like you'd expect them to turn up, right? Yeah, at least top the group.
Yeah,
Well,
obviously.
I do see that Turkey, right?
Hmm.
Looking at it now from a logical perspective, Turkey could top this group, followed by Paraguay, followed by USA. USA might actually be third.
Yeah, and I'm saying this USA as third in their best case scenario because Australia is very underrated as well. Look at their World Cup history. They almost beat Argentina
They
in World Cup
almost beat Argentina.
2022.
They
Yeah,
had
yeah,
Argentina on their
yeah,
knees, bro. Like
exactly. If Dibu
unless
Martinez
Emi
hadn't made
Martinez,
the
I
save,
remember
yeah, yeah,
Emi
yeah,
Martinez had an insane save.
yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
although I think Turkey tops the group, followed by Australia, Paraguay, they basically have good players, but I think their player in Ciso, I believe, suffered an injury and he might miss some of the games, which is a huge
he's such an
blowback for
important
the
player for
team.
that team.
Yeah, he's very important. So, yeah, if he plays the games, I think they have a shot at finishing third. But I predict Group D as in Turkey, followed by Australia, Paraguay, and USA, finishing last.
My predictions is gonna be Turkey, USA, Paraguay, and Australia last.
Yeah, both scenarios are like very possible.
Looks so like we don't know. Yeah.
Hmm. Let's move towards Group E now. It's
Yeah. So with Group E,
kind of good group.
hopefully. Okay, let's go to Group E, right?
Yeah,
We have Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, Ecuador. Okay, so first off, we're gonna talk about the Germany squad. In terms of individual brilliance, yeah, this squad is amazing. We have the likes of Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala, Kai Havertz, Leroy Sané. But you look from a perspective of uh how they were this season. Wirtz has not been that good for Liverpool this year. He's been adjusting still, even though he did have his moments. Even though he has
hmm,
been amazing for the qualifiers for Germany, yeah, I think he had like 2 3 goals again for him for
yeah,
Germany. And then we look at Musiala, and he still hasn't recovered really well from that injury he got last year at the Club World Cup in America. And
hmm,
Leroy Sané is barely getting minutes or off the bench for this Germany squad. I think he's in Istanbul with Galatasaray, and Kai Havertz is the only one coming into this Germany team on form. He had an amazing game against PSG in the UCL final, but we've seen Germany since that 2014 World Cup win. They have been falling off again and again. We've seen it 2018 they got grouped. 2022 they also got grouped. Do you think they will get grouped in this 2026 World Cup for the third time in a row?
So yeah, as you said, in terms of individual quality, They have some amazing players. Like they got Schlotterbeck and uh, Antonio at the with the CB position. They got Neuer, who's been extremely well for Bayern, and going in the midfield, they have Musiala, they have Wirtz. In the attack, they have Havertz. But however, Germany always had a decent squad in the World Cups. But what matters is the playing chemistry. And if we look at their recent games, they have been doing well. Look at the game against USA. Although I expected a better result in the friendly, but yeah, you can say it was all right from a German perspective. But this is a very interesting group, if you ask me. Like Ecuador and Ivory Coast, they both have very decent squads. Ivory Coast with Nicolas Pepe, Doué, the brother of the French Doué.
Yep.
He's in the squad. Yeah, we got they got amazing physical players. They got fast, pacey
We have
players.
Diomande, the from
Yeah,
Leipzig,
yeah,
who's been going
yeah,
on. We've seen him play a top player. We also have Ahmed Diallo. This squad is
yeah,
very tough. You know.
yeah. Very stacked. It's a stacked squad. And
Hmm.
moving towards Ecuador, they also have decent players. Look at their CB partnership, Hincapi and William Pacho,
Hmm.
uh, followed by Caicedo, Estupinan, and they got Ener Valencia up front. He
And
always
Valencia coming
cooks at the World
at
Cup.
36
Yeah,
years old though. It's
yeah.
not. Hmm.
Although
But
he is old, but he cooks in the World Cup always for Ecuador. And when
yeah,
it, and it,
I remember the last
yeah,
World Cup against Qatar. He got the first two
yeah,
goals for
yeah,
Ecuador.
yeah, exactly. So speaking of the quality, and all the teams have. I believe this is the World Cup debut for Curacao, if I'm not wrong.
Hmm.
So I don't know any like specific players from their league who play at the top level, but obviously I'm gonna see them finishing last. Although in Group E, I don't see Germany finishing top here. This is gonna be an upset, kind of,
Upset.
you can say so. Yeah, I think Ivory Coast finishes top, followed by Germany, Ecuador third, and Curacao
I
finishes
think
last.
Ivory Coast would find 3 points against Curacao. They would win that game, and
Yeah,
I think they might snatch a point against Germany. They might get a 1-1
yeah,
draw against
exactly.
Germany.
The
Yeah.
thing with this
So.
World Cup is basically the third best teams also qualify. So this is so every team will try to grab maximum points in hopes to qualify if they finish third. Like the top eight third place teams will move on to the round of 32. So every team will try their best to grab as many points as possible.
Yeah, I get that part, to be honest. So, what are your final predictions for this one?
So group for Group E, I think Ivory Coast tops the group, followed by Germany, Ecuador coming in at third, and Curacao going home.
I have it as the exact same way, but I do still have Germany just going to on top, followed by Ivory Coast, followed by Ecuador, and Curacao will be going back home. Let's go ahead up
Yeah,
to. Let's head
the final
into,
group, the
yeah,
Group F,
Group F.
basically the group of death if you really look at it.
Yeah, I really do see it.
Yeah,
All teams or all nations are very stacked. We see Netherlands,
yeah,
amazing squad, amazing depth. They do lack in that midfield area, especially with having Gravenberch as that six. But besides that, Frankie De Jong, class. Uh, Cody Gakpo has not had the best season for Liverpool, but we've seen him last World Cup for Netherlands. He always plays well for Netherlands. I think he was the top scorer for Netherlands in the Euros as well, in the Euros
yeah,
2024.
I guess.
So a player like him, who always pops up for his country, is someone that we should never undermine. He always does well. Hopefully, he'll do the same for this World Cup, and I think he will be the reason why Netherlands topped this group. Him alongside his Liverpool partner Virgil van Dijk. Probably, I do think it might be his last World Cup. He is only 34, so he might get another World Cup at 38. We never know. But
Hmm.
yeah, let's just assume this might be his final World Cup, and he's just as hungry as anyone else. He really wants this World Cup. Uh, Netherlands topped this group, and now second place is where it gets messy because Japan, Sweden, Tunisia, three squads. Where besides Tunisia, is Tunisia kind of a level under them, but it's
Uh-huh.
between Japan and Sweden. Japan, we've seen them last World Cup. They've lived like against the group of death in 2022. They were in Germany. They faced Germany and Spain, and they somehow managed to
Qualify, yeah.
qualify. So we do know how they are in these big games and these high stake games where they need a point or not. So, but we look at Sweden and you look at the Sweden squad, especially that front four with Taha Ali and Alexander Isak, Goikerid and Alanga. Squad like these players are so crucial on the counter attack. We've seen how Goikerid was in the qualifiers. He literally put Sweden on his back to beat them against Poland and send Lewandowski back home. It was genuinely insane. And then if you look back to that now, this individual brilliance that they have, like for players like Alexander Isak, he didn't have the best year for Liverpool, but he still popped off in the qualifier, not the qualifier, but the friendlies recently. Like these players would be the reason why Sweden will be second. Japan will be third. Tunisia, again, I would love a Muslim country to go through, but I don't see it happening
Yeah,
this
I
time.
just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree basically. Group F, very interesting and potentially the group of death. We got Holland with their solid defense, Van de Ven, Dumfries, Van Dijk, uh, uh, who else you got? You basically have very stacked squad. Timber and their midfield is great as well. Gravenberch, Coop Miners, Frankie De Jong. But where
Hmm.
I think they lack at the striker at the nine position. I don't think they have really like a really world class finisher up front. They might start Malin or Depay, but we have seen them like have their bad days. I think they have a good defense, they have a good midfield, but they lack in the attack. Cody Gakpo has not had a good season. Uh, Depay has been okay, so
Hmm.
I think they might have no problem finishing. If you look at their last friendly, they beat Uzbekistan 2-1 and they only scored two penalties against Uzbekistan. So
Yeah.
I find it slight concerning for a team that like the level of Holland scoring only two penalties against a team like Uzbekistan. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of
this
very
is
concerning.
yeah very concerning for
Especially with
Holland.
Memphis Depay. Memphis Depay is not the same Depay we've seen him in 2018. He
Yeah
is not.
exactly.
He is way past it nowadays.
Yeah. Now, secondly, let's talk about Japan. Japan, obviously, they got Endo, Nagatomo. They have Minamino, I believe, if he's
Yeah,
selected.
Minamino as
They
well. A
got,
squad that is very strong like that.
yeah, they got that.
It's very sad to see that Mitomo won't be going due to injury.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
would
it's
have been
very
such a plus for them.
heartbreaking. Yeah, on that wing, he would be unstoppable.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So they have a decent squad as well. Japan, I see them doing well. And thirdly, it's Sweden. Although they have a very stacked attack, but I think they lack in the midfield and defense. Like they don't have like such great players in the midfield and in the defense. Like they have the caliber. Like you have Gyökeres,
Mhm.
Elanga,
Yeah.
Taha Ali, Isak. You don't have
Hmm.
these type of players in their defense on midfield. But you can have a great attack, but if your defense can't control,
He's not getting that
I
ball up
think
front for you guys.
you're gonna concede as much as goals.
Hmm.
So yeah, they have to work on their you know
Midfield.
defense, midfield and defense. Yeah, and
Yeah,
lastly,
if they can get that ball up
Tunisia.
to
Yeah,
that attack, it'll be nice. But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
very Very concerning.
Yeah, yeah. And now, speaking about Tunisia, I watched their game against Austria, their friendly game they played
Yeah,
recently. Although they are very fast on counter attacks, but yeah, since it's basically the potential group of death, all of the following teams have some crazy attacking players. So Tunisia will have to defend really well, and we might gonna see probably gonna see haram ball, football from them, and you would understand basically since they are the worst of the four in the group, so it's
Tunisia also
understandable
have been
they
in a
can.
group with France, and they've won the
Yeah,
game against France in the last World
yeah,
Cup. So I think they
yeah,
could upset a game. I could see them beating Sweden 2-0 or 1-0.
yeah. Honestly, it's very possible. So Group F is something like uh, I I'm gonna say Japan tops this group, followed by Holland, followed by Sweden and Tunisia. But I'm sure Tunisia could do well. They could be switching between third or fourth, but I don't see them finishing in the top two. They could potentially finish third, but not above, unfortunately. So yeah, that's my prediction for Group F. Sweden could potentially get knocked out. Like uh, as I said, only their attack is, you can say, world class. The
Yeah.
rest of the team isn't quite as good as their attack. So
hmm So that will be our last group. I would love to talk about Group G tomorrow.
yeah, honestly, for Group G until Group G until the last group, we're gonna have the rest of our boys too. Hopefully, they can join and
Yeah.
we can make a podcast together. Although
hmm
it's very sad not to have Diego with us here, since he's Brazilian, he would love to share his thoughts on the Brazilian team. But yeah, we hope to have him with us tomorrow. Let's hope for the best. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And if you have any feedbacks or if you have any thoughts, share in the comments. We'll definitely take a look at them and improvise and make this podcast any better if we can. Thank you. Signing off for now.
Signing off.